to Sri Lanka. The counting has begun in the island nation. 223 of the 225 parliamentarians are casting their votes in Sri Lanka. The voting is in fact concluding. That is the latest that we are learning, that the voting is now on the brink of conclusion. It has begun quite some time ago. 223 of the 225 parliamentarians are casting their votes in Sri Lanka. For more details, let's quickly go across to Purnima Murli. Purnima, when can we expect the counting to finally conclude? And going by the majority that Ranil Wickremesinghe's party and Ranil Wickremesinghe have in the parliament in Sri Lanka, what are the odds like for Wickremesinghe's victory?
Well, the counting is underway, and the counting will soon conclude to declare who the next president of Sri Lanka would be. Candidates can also monitor the counting, or they can nominate a representative to ensure that the counting is fair and transparent. So candidates can directly monitor the counting, or they can nominate a representative from their party to ensure that counting is fair and transparent. So at the moment, counting is underway. Any time now, the counting will conclude. And then the next president will be announced by the speaker. At the moment, of the 225 parliamentarians, 223 of them have cast their votes, and there are three contenders for the top post. And there's a tough battle between Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is nominated and backed by the Rajapaksas, and Dullas, who is also a parliamentarian from the ruling party, but is backed by the opposition party. So it's a neck-and-neck battle between Ranil and Dullas. But any time now, the counting will conclude to know, and then we'll know who the next president would be. But interesting developments ahead, because protesters are also keenly watching at the protest site at Golface. They are also monitoring the developments. They are also having a live telecast of the parliament session and parliament proceedings.
Right, visuals of which we can also see on our screen. Having said that, Purnima, it's interesting that you mentioned that it's going to be a neck-and-neck fight between Wickremesinghe and Dullas as well. But as we know, that this is a three-way contest, because there's not just Dullas, we're also looking at Dissanayaka. But it's interesting you mentioned Dullas. If you could just also take us through the credentials. This man's had sort of a massive rise through the ranks, because as someone who started off as a tabloid journalist, he's certainly come a long way.
Certainly come a long way, and since last year he's not seen as someone who's very close to the Rajapaksas. He's been a loyalist of the Rajapaksas, but since last year things were not well, which is why even as SLPP had suggested that, or the General Secretary of the party had nominated Ranil and said that the ruling party will vote for Ranil Wickremesinghe and that he is the nominee, and that he has the support of the SLPP. Dullas had in fact said that he also expressed his desire to contest, and there are a few parliamentarians from the ruling party who have backed him. Apart from that, while it was going to it was Ranil who had an edge till day before yesterday, Sajid Premadasa, who initially expressed his wish to contest, he too had backed Dullas, and sources say that if all goes well, and if Dullas becomes the president, then Sajid Premadasa is looking to become the prime minister. They've struck a deal, and Sajid and Dullas will then ensure that it goes well, and the cabinet minister also appointed, which is why till day before yesterday, Ranil had
No, Purnima, go ahead. I was, in fact, since you mentioned that Premadasa pulled out at the last moment, that is exactly what I was coming to. With Premadasa pulling out at the last moment as far as the race was concerned, is this going to impact the entire election and the choices made by the politicians in the parliament today?
Well, till day before yesterday, Ranil Wickremesinghe had an edge because he had the numbers on his side. But with Sajid, because Sajid was also trying to split votes. But now sources say that because Sajid has backed Dullas, and there are also other opposition parties in Sri Lanka who've backed Dullas, it's a neck and neck battle. Otherwise, it was an easy win for Ranil, even though Dullas was also contesting. But Sajid Premadasa now backing Dullas has changed the equation, and everyone is waiting to know who the next president would be. It wasn't easy for Ranil because of Dullas now having the support of the opposition parties. Otherwise, Ranil was backed by the ruling party, by the Rajapaksas, and protesters also till now said that they will wait to know the result before they plan their next course of action. So interesting battle between the two of them,
Right.
and counting is still underway. Any time now, the counting will
Right.
conclude, and we will know who the next president
Absolutely.
of Sri Lanka would be.
It is a neck and neck battle at the moment. As Purnima was pointing out, that Dullas might just manage to split that vote, that crucial vote of the ruling party of the SLPP in Sri Lanka today. And with that, many thanks, Purnima, for bringing in all those details. We'll keep coming back to you as and when more developments happen. And